Welcome back to Bobblehead Homestead. My name is Jeff. We've got a cloudy but humid day. I think it's only about 80. Still enough to get me out of breath. I have just put 5 gallons of gas, diesel, into the Caterpillar, and I've just tightened the hydraulic connections on the Grapple. So now I want to put the Grapple on. It was leaking. Not too bad. Probably just one of the connections need to be tightened up, and it apparently I'm about to find out. Well, let's put the Grapple on and see if it's still leaking. No leaks. So the Grapple's on. Let's go mess around a little bit. Break. It's been about, I don't know, half an hour. So let's go take a look at what I was doing. There's the well house, shower house with a brand new roof. They redid the entire roof. Go watch Working with Wiley in our mountain home. So there's a driveway coming in, the dead end gravel lane, and Here is a clump of trees beside the gravel lane, and this is where I would like to put the porta potties. So, yeah, just started out in here, and you know, a little bit of privacy. I'm not gonna take out all the underbrush yet. That'll come later. But yeah, good start. I'm still, this is, you know, there's a slope here, and I prefer pushing going downhill rather than pushing going uphill. Anyway, so yeah, a couple passes through here, and I've got this pretty good. There's a big old cedar stump. There's another stump behind it too, and some logs in there. So I'm gonna keep going in here, but I'll try to leave some of the briar. But this is right in here, you know, a path there and a path there. Then we'll get to all this stuff later. I just want to clean it up enough for the 4th of July weekend. And I do need to come back through here with a bucket and, you know, smooth all this out. We still got some more green briar hanging out. I might want to come through here with that front hoe first. Yeah, I'll keep playing. It's break time. Up next, I'm gonna tackle these pine limbs. These are remnants from a tree that Wiley and family took down. That tree right there. And I'm taking all the refuse way back there because that's where it needs to go. And I've got another burn pile. When I took out all those small trees, I made a junk pile there. I need to move that over there. So a little bit more work up here. Those pine, probably make a few more passes through here. And then I was looking around, there was a nice big old log right here. So I'll see about getting back into there. Looks, yeah, there might be a few big logs in there. All right, back to work. Battery ran out, but I kept working and working and working and working. This is cool. That was all a jungle, you know, like that in there. That was all a jungle, and it's not anymore. My battery ran out last night long before I stopped working. So let's go, and I missed some stuff. I took out a stump and I got no video of it. I'll take out another stump, I'll get video of it. But let's have a look around. Man, it was, I was working for about 5 hours in that machine. About 4 hours over here, minus breaks, and then about another hour right at dark over at my place on that stump and some other stuff. But let's take a look at what I did yesterday that I couldn't film. Here we have the driveway and the lane, and right off to the side here, this was a jungle, you know, a little patch of jungle right along the lane. And it's about half the jungle's gone after yesterday. Yeah, came through, I did all this with just Grapple. Wiley had taken a pass through here with the flail mower when I first got it. But yeah, I did the rest of this just with the Grapple. And as you can see what the Grapple, it, for whatever reason, the small stuff, it's a root Grapple, but it doesn't get all the small stuff roots. I mean, it got the trees and everything, but yeah, went to town with the Grapple and got all this cleared out. I left a portion of the jungle to block from the road. I will probably clean that up at some point in the future, but this is where I'd want to put the porta potties where they'll be in the shade all day, like right there. They can come in the driveway, back up in here a little bit, and yep, 2 porta potties. So mission accomplished over here. Well, not yet. Look at all that greenbrier. My front hoe, the skid steer can't fit between those 2 trees, so I can come over here with that front hoe and dig some of that out. Are these cedars? Yeah, these are cedars. So got to be careful of the roots. You know, I can only go down so far, but I'll scrape all that out and get this cleaned up. And there's still stuff popping up. Yeah, since I got the front hoe over here. This one, man, I worked on that for like 10 minutes. Probably not, maybe 4 minutes. But I couldn't get it to come up. It's just this little straggly tree. And I got that, but the root Grapple just couldn't catch on to wherever that thing, it must go down straight or something, I don't know. But yeah, good times in here. More work to do. Front hoe, get some of this stuff, and then the bucket, and that'll clear it all up. But yeah, this is what it all looked like. It was just overgrown mess, some smaller trees, but mostly vining, thorny greenbrier. And there was part of a tree over here that Wiley and family took down. So yeah, oh yeah, Wiley was over here delivering some more shale. Woohoo! We are, this front one here, we're going to extend that so it's a little bit deeper, so the bigger campers will go in front, which that'll be the preferred spot anyway, because of the shade in the afternoon. But yeah, this was a, you know, this is a pretty big patch. And you can see I can get right through there now with the Grapple and finish taking that out. But that is not a priority. This will, you know, provide some shade and privacy during the party. You caught some of this. There was a giant debris pile in there, and we're towards the back of my pasture. But I moved that giant debris pile, and now I made this giant debris pile even bigger. Man, massive wall over there. That's where I was putting almost everything that that my Grapple was grappling. And it's a long way up there. But I want it out of the way for the 4th of July, so as far away from there as possible. And hey, I've got a skid steer. It can be moved to where I want it to go. Yeah, we can kind of take a look here. This is why I haven't mowed this spot yet. It's hard to see since you ain't got 3D, but this is a mound that comes up and then it goes down, and that's a pretty deep ditch right there. And then same here, it's a mound that goes up and then a pretty deep ditch. And I wasn't exactly sure where the mound and the ditch was because of all this tall stuff, but now I know where it's at, so I can make a pass instead of going up and then over and, you know, with the skid. Yeah, I don't like doing that. So if I can go straight down the middle and then on the sides go at an angle, I can get that. So now I have a plan of attack on this grass. This area, we've got plenty of other areas to use, especially under those giant oak trees. So yeah, giant pile of debris moved. And then over here, and you can see where the muddy spots are. There was clumps of trees that I took out a while ago with the grapple, and while I had the grapple on yesterday, I made a few more passes through there to try to clean it up from some of the bigger roots and stuff. It did a little bit of good, but that grapple just is not great with these smaller roots that are coming up. So I'll still come in here with the bucket, and I just thought I'd give it a little time while I was out here. And I did get some of the bigger root balls, so it wasn't a waste of time by any stretch. But yeah, some of this briar and like the thorny berries, I tried, it just won't happen. And then if the bucket, once I get this all smoothed out with the bucket, if some of those are still sticking out, well, they can be mowed over. But I got pretty much everything that can grow back. That's where the party will be happening. And I am standing here. This is about the halfway point of my property. And that was my original place there. A lot of those trees are on this property. And then back in there, there's still a lot of real estate back in there. So, yeah, I was getting adventurous with that skid steer and grapple and figured I'll just take a couple swipes out here, see what I can do. You can tell where the mud is. These are just, you know, pine trees and whatever it is with those brown berry looking things on them. I do not know what that is. But these are not very big trees. They're young. And I just came in here with the grapple, took a few swipes in there just to see if it would do it. And it does a pretty good job. So that was nice. Anybody know what these are? There are a ton of them growing back here. If they're valuable or something, let me know, because I got a ton of them growing. Yep, even more of them in there. This is taken. So I'd like to someday, you know, park all this out, get all the undergrowth, leave the trees. You know, there's some nice trees in here. But I took a swipe in here, just kind of blazed a trail, just to see what I got. And it's cool. So let's hop in the Honda and go take a look at more of this. That's where we were just looking. it's a nice little path that comes back here, and we're still not at the very back of my property. All this forest, you can see a fence line right there, the neighbor. But so back in this direction, I don't even know how far. Quite a ways of forest that's not been cleared. But this is a nice pathway back here. And there are some big trees, but it's mostly this undergrowth stuff. You know, exactly this. Greenbrier and whatever this is. And I just planted a bunch more of it, didn't I? But, so, you know, I'm out having fun on my skid steer. Those are a nice clump of trees, clean out around it. I'd love to, you know, one day clear all this out. What are you doing? Just hanging out here in the middle of whatever. Are you a silkworm? Probably not. But yeah, I blazed a trail through here just to see what I got. And yeah, so a lot of the small stuff can be taken out. Leave the bigger trees, fence it all in for, you know, this is going to be a great shade spot for livestock. Yeah, I got a good chunk out of here. It was just so far to take the debris. That's really what takes most of the time. But yeah, I blazed a trail through here. So all of this small stuff can be taken out. This can all be thinned out. And then I can get fencing around it for, I'm really hoping for sheep. Nice. Nice big trees. So yeah, I don't know how long I spent out here. Not all that long. I made a pass along the corner here and just while I was driving. But big dream someday. Getting this all parked out, as they say. Leaving the big trees for shade. So the animals have somewhere to go to. It would be, yeah, I might want to continue the water on back here. Because I'll probably want to do rotational grazing on the pasture itself. But you can leave them a lane to go back to the water or, you know, back to wherever their home is. And do rotational grazing in the pasture during the day. So yeah, I might want to run water back here and build their shelter. But tons and tons of work, as I learned yesterday. And that's going to take many hours of work. But I don't have to hire anybody to do it. I just got to pay for the gas. Speaking of gas, I learned yesterday. I put, it was almost empty, and I put 5 gallons in it. And I went 5 hours, probably close to 5 machine hours on it. And it's got, it's still got more than not quite empty. So, you know, I can about a gallon an hour, roughly, based on what I was doing yesterday. A little bit less than a gallon an hour. That's not too bad. So, all right, I'm gonna hop in the Honda and show you, once it started getting dark here, I headed home, and I figured I'll be close to home when it gets dark. So I did a few things over there before I hung it up for the night. And let's go take a look next door at my original property, what I did with the Grapple. I finished off the night taking out this giant, well, it's not all that giant. Giant for me, that is the biggest tree I have taken out with the Grapple. That is definitely, it's a pine that was, there's the new property over there. So I came home when it started getting dark and messing around. I didn't film it because ran out of battery. But yeah, you see this stump? Oh, actually those are 2. But it was about the size of that. Yep. And it was right here. And it's not there anymore. Yep. Because right behind this tree is where the front fence line is going to go over to that metal shed. Then in front of this tree. And then down to almost where that stump is. A little bit further back will be the front fence line, and then it takes off in that direction. So, but I got that out with a grapple. Didn't even use the stump bucket. I didn't feel like it was already late. Now those are two together. There's another one over there. I still need to get those out. Those will not be in the way of the fence line, but I should go ahead and get them now. I got some trees back there that will need to come down before the fence line goes in. But yeah, just the end of the day, had the grapple on. Watched Wiley do it. I watched him take out a big old stump. So I figured, why not? Let's go for it. It took, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. It probably would have been quicker with the stump bucket, but I don't have enough experience to know that yet until I go after these two with the stump bucket. That's all I got for this video. That was the longest day I have put in on that skid steer yet. It was all with the grapple. I just went to town. It was fun, and I'll do it again, but not today because we got a big old rain this morning. Yep, so everything's muddy. There are a few things I could probably do, but in areas where I don't want to rip out the sod, because when it's wet and you turn in that skid steer, yeah, it's all your grass is gone. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for everything. Take it easy.